What's up, everybody? We're back. Another new episode, carrying on with season 3, episode 2. We're going to be talking about South America today. If you watched season 3, episode 1, then you'll know my guest and I, we got on to South America, but we actually have enough together to make it probably a whole episode. So that's what we're going to do. And again, if you're new to the Last Wave podcast, we go over anything covering paranormal, UFOs, conspiracies, cryptids, all that ancient history, all that good stuff, the occult, a little bit of everything. So I'm joined again by my co-host for today, Hunter.
Howdy, howdy.
So again, we got off on a bunch of tangents on the last episode, but I hope everyone enjoyed that. And today we're going to go over just some of the stories and stuff about South America. And Hunter, I'm going to pass it to you. What are some of the things that you are aware of?
Well, for South America, in high school I had to do a report on several different things. Like there's 3 or 4 different things I had to do a report on throughout high school.
Mm-hmm.
But one of them I chose to do was the South American cultures
Okay.
and mythologies. If you really get into it, South America seems to be a bit not behind, but later in the chronology than the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So, like for instance, when the Aztecs were at the height of their civilization, right?
Mm-hmm.
They hadn't gotten gunpowder yet. They hadn't really done anything with exploration beyond their shores that we know of.
That's true. Yeah.
But so when the Spanish got there, they were completely caught off guard.
Yeah.
And the Spanish were at the height of their power at that time. Like the Spanish Armada was massive, and it was basically the pride of Europe.
Yeah.
Was between the Spanish and the English Navy. They were the naval powers. But that's the thing is, we were talking before the podcast, before this, about how my theory on the Egyptians, because we're fairly certain the Egyptians crossed the ocean at some point.
Oh yeah.
So my theory on that was instead of staying in North America and doing whatnot, they went to South America. Because the Egyptians, them at the height of their power was like 1,000 or more years before Spain was at the height of their power.
Okay.
I personally think that some of the Egyptians made it to Mexico and whatnot and decided, oh, we like it here, we're going to stay here. Mm-hmm. And they mixed with some of the local tribes and whatnot, and thus became the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incans, the Olmecs.
Just kind of diversified throughout the local tribes. Well, I mean, that's certainly possible, and like I said, we were talking about that Grand Canyon situation where all those supposedly Egyptian style artifacts were found, and the Smithsonian came in. And if anyone listens to the podcast, you know my opinion on the Smithsonian. They're basically the men in black of history. If you ever find anything special, for the love of goodness, just put it on the internet. Don't report it to anybody.
Don't send it to the Smithsonian.
Don't send it to anyone. Don't tell anyone official.
Yeah.
Because when these artifacts were discovered in a cave, allegedly they came in and took out 100 plus truckloads. 109, I think it was the total of truckloads of artifacts, and probably mummies, antiquities, could be giants, could be advanced stuff, who knows. So that makes sense, because your theory plus that, that is the Southwest of America, so it's already there. And it's said that those trade routes are the routes up north to where, I want to say it's the Incans brought their gold after the Spanish came back, and they knew the Spanish were going to come back for all their gold. They moved it north into Southern America, and into New Mexico,
no man's land at the time.
Yeah, and I mean there's like 2 or 3 shows on right now. You got Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
That is part of their gold. They think they found it. Then you got Lost Gold of the Aztecs, so it must be the Aztecs, and that's on Discovery as well. And that's 3 different teams of people looking for it out there.
Yeah, well, see, the theory, or one of my theories, is that when the Spanish finally conquered the Aztecs and laid or began laying siege to Tenochtitlan, or
yeah,
you know the one I'm talking about, their capital.
Their capital, yeah. Might be Teotihuacan. I don't know. No, I'm not sure. One of those things.
Yeah, but when they laid siege to their capital, the Montezuma wept. The last king of the Aztecs wept because he knew that their great civilization was going to die and be subjugated, and that was in common Aztec culture, to be conquered was to die.
Right.
So he was like, we may be conquered, but I will have my revenge.
Yeah.
And so supposedly he went to the top of the pyramid, their step pyramid there, and called out to Huitzilopochtli for not to save them, but to avenge them. And nearly every conquistador that was there, like, more came, of course.
Yeah.
But the original crew that first made contact with them all died. Yeah. Horribly. And not by their hand.
Well, I know, and that's not, it's a slightly funny take from it, but I do remember hearing that what is one of those conquistadors? Cortez.
Yeah, Cortez.
Cortez came here, and when he left, he had syphilis.
Yeah.
And the only thing that had syphilis that they know of then was the llamas or the alpacas.
Yeah.
So,
well, see, that's the thing, though. Probably what had happened, or at least what I think had happened, was that they cultivated alpacas, llamas, what have you, there in South America. But they had a certain way of cooking and preparing it.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
But
it's not quite as funny, but it makes more sense.
And plus, that's another thing, is syphilis was believed to have come from South America. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, I think that was part of Montezuma's revenge.
Oh, yeah, could be.
Was that one of the most incurable disease, or not? It's not that it's incurable. It's that if left untreated, it gets. Well, for up until the 70s, it was untreatable.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know when exactly they got the treatment. Yeah, up until recent times, syphilis was untreatable, and it meant you were going to go crazy and die.
Yeah, I think it's what Blackbeard had. He had, I want to say it was syphilis, but it could have been something else, and they thought the cure for it was injecting mercury straight into the urethra.
Oh, God.
And into your bladder, so it would kill off whatever is in there. That's what they thought the cure was. So he was getting injections while he's out there pirating.
Jeez.
I cannot imagine. It was
that's what they seem to think Henry VIII got that caused him to go mad.
It's possible. You never know.
But then again, you never know.
Yeah. It's only history. We have no idea.
Yeah, unless somebody invents a time machine, we'll never know.
Right. So, South America, I did want to touch on the fact that when the conquistadors came, they were greeted as basically gods.
Yeah.
Because the Aztec gods were known to be, like Quetzalcoatl was said to be a white man with a beard and had many followers.
Yeah.
So at first I was like, well, that kind of sounds like Jesus, but I'm like, that can't be right. So if we start looking, and I've had episodes on this before, and we were talking before the podcast, the roaming gods theory of the gods of, and it said the Quetzalcoatl and those gods brought knowledge.
Yeah.
And if you look at Norse mythology,
Yeah.
Odin
and
brought knowledge,
and then Ra brought knowledge,
yeah,
and
Toph and all that.
Yeah.
You can start to piece them together. I mean, I even went so crazy as to say, Krishna, I believe it is the, or is it Vishnu? One of the blue god from Hindu.
Yeah.
Is blue, and then you have Loki, who's also known to be a shapeshifter, who was the son of a frost giant, so blue.
Yeah.
So there's really weird connections between these gods. But
Yeah.
as far as South America, we know that the Norse traveled everywhere. There was a couple years ago there was a Norse tomb found with an Egyptian blue glass bead.
Yeah.
So, and there's towns in South America that mimic the name of Odin, or the Germanic one, Woden. So you got Wotan. There's all kinds of stuff. There's like 3 or 4 ancient cities down there that mock that. So the conquistadors, also being helmeted white people with beards, more than likely, were, they thought they were coming back.
Yeah.
And so when they came in, they showed them all this gold that they had. I mean, allegedly rooms full of gold to the ceiling.
Well, see, that's the thing, is the legends of El Dorado and all that derived from the great cities of the Aztecs and the Mayans. Because what does South America have in abundance that just about everywhere but the Middle East and South and Africa don't have? Gems and gold.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
Like South America, Africa, and the Middle East are primarily where we get our gold and gems from.
Yeah, that's very true.
Now, mind you, they get sent all over the world, like the gem stalls of India and that kind of thing. However,
a lot of them do come out of Africa and South America.
Yeah. However, but South America, the only reason it's not bigger in South America is because the cartels currently control it.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because if you try to mine emerald in South America without the proper permissions, you're going to get shot.
Yeah. They even had, I want to say it was years ago, I think Gold Rush tried to do one in South America, and they were like getting shut down like every week. Because like random soldiers were coming up.
Oh,
random
yeah.
people in the forest was just coming up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
asking for work and all that. Yeah, no.
Or bringing AKs and telling them to stop working.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you actually, what's funny is South America and Chile, especially, is like leading the world in UFO just news. Like, they're just letting shit out. They say that we're actively looking into it. There's tons of UFO videos and reports from South America.
Oh, yeah.
And that makes sense because you usually see UFOs coincide with certain things like gold, water, and gems and quartz crystal.
Well, see, my thing is with this, the Mayan, specifically the Mayans, they looked to the star. They were one of the Aztecs were more of daytime kind of folks. Like, they worshiped the sun and whatnot.
Right.
Mayans worshipped both, but the nighttime they observed the stars. That's where we got that Mayan calendar.
Right. The long count.
Yeah, the long calendar is they used the stars to do that, not the sun.
Oh, that's a good point.
Mind you, it was a solar-ish calendar, but they took all their knowledge of both and put it into one thing.
Seems to be the way to go. That's a good idea.
But because the Mayans were, quite honestly, the Mayans were more advanced than the rest of the tribes and civilizations down there. There's a reason in Civ 6 they made out of the three Mesoamerican civs you have on there, the Mayans were the ones that made a scientific civilization.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, yeah.
Well,
I mean, see, like, my whole thing is, if you look at ancient civilizations like that, and even back to biblical times, like, the time span in between these civilizations is so much different than people think. Like, when you think Greek times, you think in
Hellenistic.
Like Rome is still there, Greek, Athens, Carthage, all the all
Egypt's still there.
Yeah, no, a lot of these places are like 400 and 500 years ago from like this city.
Well,
Like,
well, see, here's the thing.
thousands of years separated.
Up until I want to say the World War II, there were still people in the what was the Byzantine Empire that considered themselves Romans.
Wow.
Up until like the 20s or 30s, yeah, they still considered themselves Romans. That's why Mussolini wanted new Pax Romana or some nonsense like that with his when he joined the Axis powers.
Yeah.
Is because he wanted Italy to rise again.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
From Rome.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a real hard time letting go of power, and between the Catholic Church and stuff like that, they're still in a lot of power.
Yeah. You know? Well, see, the only thing the Roman Empire and the Holy Roman Empire had in common was the name. Quite frankly.
Yeah, that is true.
Because by the time the Holy Roman Empire came along, the Roman Empire was dead.
Yeah.
Because it was already split in half. It was already split up like 2 or 3 times. Yeah. There were civil wars.
The outer reaches were
apart. They weren't falling apart. They were being reclaimed by the
Germanic tribes.
The Germanic tribes.
Yeah. Well, see, that's another reason why I think America is just about due for some type of collapse, because Rome failed because they were overextended. Mm-hmm. In the later years, they got lazy. They turned towards arts and sex and.
Well, they got corrupt.
Yeah, they got corrupt. You're right. So, and the knowledge on how to keep up a lot of the structures, like the aqueducts and stuff that was made hundreds of years before, the generations had just forgotten. Yeah. So a lot of stuff fell into disarray.
Well, see, the prime example of that is Roman roads. I'm not talking about Holy Roman. I'm talking about Roman roads. Yeah. Still exist and are still used.
Yeah, and are still
versus freaking I-40 over here. Yeah. That has to be that. There's a saying: never stop working on. Be like I-40. Never stop working on yourself, no matter how inconvenient it is for everybody else.
That's true.
We have to. By the time we get one part fixed, we have to go back and fix the first part.
It is pretty terrible.
Versus Roman roads, which when they were done, they were.
Yeah, and they were done, and you could still. Yeah, because I was just watching Curse of Oak Island the other day, like a month or so ago, and they were on a road that was made like back. I mean, it was a stone path more or less, but it was made so well you could walk up and down it clear as day. And they were discovering a stone path on the island at the time, so it was like the exact same thing. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, if you go to any major city,
I have a personal vendetta against Curse of Oak Island.
Oh gosh, let me hear it, because I've seen every episode.
Because I'm like every season they come up with some new thing.
Oh yeah.
That was supposedly there, and I'm like, guys, this is not the nexus of the world. All roads do not lead to Oak Island.
I mean, they do have a lot of stuff that they think is in there, but they think, I don't know what it is. I honestly don't think anything's probably there still. Yeah. I think whoever had it probably came and took it. Yeah. I do think there's a ship in the swamp because they got.
Well, yeah. Okay, that's one thing. Yeah. But saying like, pretty much they're saying without saying all roads lead to Oak Island, and I'm like,
the Templars, the Romans, the Spanish, pirates, everybody.
I'm like. Yes, it was probably popular. No.
It's not the most important spot in the world.
No.
Well, it's like they think the Ark of the Covenant is down there, but I'm pretty sure the Ark of the Covenant's in Ethiopia.
Yeah, Ethiopia, in that one church that nobody's allowed in.
Because even the pastor always, whoever they choose, always ends up losing their eyesight and their hair.
Well, that, and I think you had to have, according to biblical text, you had to have certain robes and whatnot to. And certain whatnot, accoutrement to actually be in the same area as it. And quite frankly, I've never seen that on the Ethiopian priests.
Yeah. Well, they said it was like, they even showed, if you look at pictures of it, it's like a square. It's got buttons.
Well, not buttons, but gems.
Gems, yeah.
But basically what I think it is that the Ark, now we're getting off topic here.
Yeah, we are. That's fine.
But the Ark, I think, is a radioactive, was basically the world's first nuclear device or atomic device, because what that thing simulates is a lead covering
Yeah, like
for the X-ray, so you protect yourself.
I think that's. I think it's definitely got something radioactive.
Yeah.
To do with, well, and we are getting off topic.
Yeah.
But on the last thing on that, I've been reading a lot and doing a lot of research, and it looks like the Israelite God or Jewish God Yahweh is what is known in the Old Testament is really he's a bad dude. Like, and it even says multiple places like they contacted, or it was the Templars when they allegedly seen the ark for the first time. They said it was glowing red eyes, and they were using it to contact a demon.
Well, see, there's theories on this, okay? This not to be a different episode, but there's theories that Yahweh wasn't always part of a monotheistic pantheon. He was part of a polytheistic pantheon, and he started out as either a god of craftsmen or a war god.
Clearly, likely a war god.
And then every so often, when a tribe was conquered by the Israelites or whatnot, he became more and more and more, whereas the other gods became more demonized and whatnot.
Background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that if you follow it along, that definitely seems what it's definitely something. It's definitely another episode. Yeah. There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
But tracking back to South America.
Yeah. Now I wanted to speak on how. Okay. So in South America, when the Spanish got there, they were Catholic. Okay, and there's nothing Catholics hate more than other religions.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, I hate to put it like that. There's nothing they hate more than people living their life and having their own religion.
Well, I mean, there's like 2,000 years of proof of that.
Yeah. So, but they almost completely wiped out the mythology and the religion of South America.
Yeah.
But it's starting to come back because people are trying to revive their culture, and I'm all for that because, quite frankly, some of the mythologies on this they're great reads.
Oh yeah, they're
but also South America, which was one of the like we said close to the beginning of the episode, was really delayed in their development compared to the rest of the world. But even they have a thing about a great flood. There's a thing about a great flood on every continent except Antarctica.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on that. I think don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
Antarctica's a whole nother episode.
Yeah. But then you're right. They all do have. I mean, every civilization has a flood myth of some kind, or flood story. I mean, it's much older than the Moses story. I mean, if you start looking at it, there's some evidence that we were all connected at some point. And if what we were talking about earlier, that was falling apart, the modern roads. So I kind of have a weird theory that if a civilization got to almost where we are, and maybe even more advanced, but they went to war or did whatever, and say that was 100,000 years ago, we'd have no idea. I mean, you can look at ghost shows when they're in buildings that closed 20 years ago and they're damn near falling apart.
Yeah.
I mean, 100,000 years, we'd have no idea.
Well, see, my thing with this is that we're finding things in uncovering things from mountains, and like there's one rock somewhere, I think in Vietnam, that looks literally, they call it Snake Rock or something.
Snake Caves.
Where it looks like a freaking snake.
Yeah, it's like giant. It's like a giant snake. I love those pictures.
Yeah, and I'm like, nature is very, very rarely so precise.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that's there, the one pattern they generally go with is hexagonal, thus beehives and whatnot.
Yeah.
They don't normally make complicated things, patterns and whatnot, and it obviously wasn't made by man.
Right.
And for me, it's just, we're getting another sidetrack, is the Ring of Fire. Is the Ring of Fire, the volcanoes and whatnot. could be the world serpent.
Oh.
Because you'll notice how it snakes around.
Yeah.
Like it could be. What's its name? Jormungandr.
Yeah, Jormungandr. That's very possible. I actually liked it there. And again, we're getting off topic, kind of. But on the topic of the Norse, not a lot of people know that because you see movies like Attack of the Titans, Clash of the Titans, and they're fighting a kraken.
Yeah.
And it's all Greek themed.
Yeah.
And in Pirates of the Caribbean, they had krakens, but the kraken myth originated from Norway.
Yeah.
And they're talked about animals up there, obviously like Jormungandr, the kraken. They had a whale that was as big as an island.
Yeah.
You could dock your ship on.
Yeah.
I mean, so all these big creature myths have always been around, like ever since we
went
out
out
to
of
water.
them are uniquely serpentine.
Yeah, it always seems to be some kind of sea serpent.
And like Hootsley of Poochly, no, that was the hummingbird. What was it? It was I think it was Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, it was.
That was a flying serpent.
It's not because one of them is the white guy with the beard, and one of them is the flying serpent. Yeah,
I think he came to them as a white guy in a beard, or is what supposedly they would say.
Well, if you look at even if you look at the prows of North ship, the guy's usually got like a dragon.
Yeah.
That could be it. And again, there's always dragon myths and dragon themes. So that also takes us all the way back to Enlil and Enki, like the two original, said to be the original Mesopotamian gods, and one is an eagle, one's a serpent.
Yeah.
And they've been warring for
years,
the entirety of human history.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Rome, America, Nazi Germany, conquering, warring armies,
always eagles.
Yeah, and you got China and the Middle Eastern countries, South American countries, all with dragons or serpents.
Yeah.
They're more about knowledge and esoteric magic and stuff like that. So you can start to pull threads on history, and things start to unravel, and it's pretty crazy. But as far as all these ancient civilizations, no one knows what happened in South America, because sadly, because the conquistadors, people like that,
the Spanish. It's why some people hate the Dutch, some people hate other things, British Empire. Me personally, Spain and Catholicism here's world history. Here's Spain and Catholicism.
Yeah, smashed. They ruined everything. They burnt libraries. I mean, this is like
Pirates of the
Germanic people.
Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides perfectly summarized it at the very end when they were at the temple.
I don't remember.
When they found the Fountain of Youth, they said, "Only God can give eternal life. Tear this heathen temple down."
Oh yeah.
And it's like if it didn't follow with their ideology and beliefs, no, none of this. Yeah. And the only way you got out of that was having a military that could withstand theirs.
Yeah. That's very true.
That's why Britain and Spain had such a bad time with each other, is because
they were the two biggest of their day.
They were the two biggest of their day, and Spain couldn't convert England. Yeah. England looked at them and said, "Listen here."
Yeah. So that is very true. Sadly, I think there's a lot more interest in it than the last, 10 years and stuff, since like Ancient Aliens has come on. And people are really looking. People are finally, like we said before in the last episode, they're finally like
waking up. Hey,
why is this happening?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Why were we lied to for 100,000 years?
Yeah.
So, but as far as South America is also home to a lot of really cool cryptids. And stuff. One I was just reading about was, what's the name? Mote. It means Mother Mountain.
Yeah.
It was like it was a Banshee-esque, you only know them from the wailing and one of those types of spirits. And you see that a lot in South America. You see like witch stuff.
Yeah, there was one I heard about. There was from South America, but it was basically kind of like a leech dog thing. Basically or a leech creature.
Yeah.
that fed off of your life essence instead of your blood.
That sounds more like a different dimensional
Yeah.
entity, because that's what you hear a lot is like they're feeding off of.
I think Supernatural did an episode on it one point. They were at a spa. You know the one I'm talking about? They were at a spa, and then one of the masseurs was literally just sucking the life out of them.
Oh gosh.
I think Supernatural did an episode on it, but Supernatural's done an episode on just about every
It's
cryptid.
like the Paranormal Simpsons. Like Supernatural did it.
Yeah.
Well, there is this thing called energy, like psychic vampires.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Michelle Belanger is, a psychic. She's been on a couple of shows.
Yeah.
I follow her on Twitter. She's
Yeah.
a pretty cool person. She's one of those. Like she can. I'm pretty sure that's what she's about. She takes in energies.
Yeah.
So that is, and again, that sounds more like an interdimensional thing, and which South America is big on UFOs and.
Oh yeah, like I was saying, there's a plateau.
Yeah.
That I don't remember. I think it's the Brazilian government. Don't quote me on this. I don't know which country it is. I could be completely wrong. But there is one plateau in some country in South America that no one is allowed to step foot on.
Yeah.
And they won't give a reason why.
Yeah, don't it just, it's like this weird thing, it just goes like straight up, right?
Yeah, it literally goes like this.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know why I said like this on a podcast, but it literally
goes. It just goes straight up.
Like it goes straight up, and then it's forested or jungle and all that. And there's theories from it being the last bastion of the dinosaurs to there being a tribe there to there being technology there to
anything.
To that being where the last Nazi stronghold on the planet is.
Yeah. Now I know we were talking about the Nazis in South America, and I think that is the most convincing argument for what happened to them after the war.
Oh.
That or Antarctica, but the stories for Antarctica are so absurd. Like when Admiral Byrd, with Operation High Jump, I believe it was, took basically a small fleet down there and was run off by Nazis in their UFOs.
Yeah.
So I mean, but South America, there's clear evidence.
Yeah, there's one entire town that you just don't go to if you're not white.
And everyone's literally, it's a germ. They're wearing lederhosen. They're drinking in pubs.
Yeah.
And this is in the jungles of South America.
Yeah, and they are extremely racist.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Because I had a friend that went there because they went to go visit their grandfather. My grandfather played Wolfenstein before it was real. Joke here.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh yeah, they were racist. They were bad."
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, if you're not part, they probably got some secrets, obviously.
Well, that's where they found. I think that's where they found one of the upper echelon of the Third Reich was literally they tracked him to South America, and not sure if they captured him or they assassinated him. I don't remember the story, but they found him in South America, living under a different name.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's probably quite a few down there if they continue with that research and continue to try to track them down. But I mean, we even brought some here with Operation Paperclip. Obviously, Werner von Braun to help with the space race.
Well, see, they weren't Nazis. They were scientists that were. The Nazis said, "You either do this, or we kill you and your family."
That's probably true. Yeah, that is very accurate. A lot of people don't really think about that part of it.
Because there was more than one scientist that said, "No, we're not working for evil men," and they got sent to Auschwitz, Dachau, or anything like that. There were a lot of brilliant minds that were sent there, and Mengele, may he rot in hell, experimented on them. And that's a whole nother. That is
a crazy book to open. Nazi experiments and occult stuff.
Yeah, that's a whole. Which I can go on a rant on that too.
Same. That's a good topic.
But South America. It's just. I think it's actually the least officially explored continent, aside from Antarctica. But Antarctica's ice. Right now, it's under Antarctica that we would want to look at.
I think that's probably true now that you say it. I mean, other than like Mongolia or something, but there's nothing.
Yeah, there's
you
nothing
can just
really.
fly a drone and see everything.
Yeah.
With South America, you're right. There's hidden cities, there's hidden temples, there's Lord knows what else. But I know obviously there's and that Mata Molte or whatever it's the Mountain Mother is like a banshee. It wails and screams. And I've actually done an episode on the women in white. It seems to be a phenomenon. You always hear like you're driving down a country road and you see a lady in white, don't pick her up.
Oh yeah,
she'll disappear 3 minutes later or whatever the heck, or you'll get hurt.
Yeah.
Banshees, sirens, I kind of tie them all together.
Oh yeah.
As more of an omen, because people say that banshees will mean someone's going to die, and sirens like lure them to the death. So to me, it's you're going to die. So.
Well, see, that's you see all on the TikTok these whistles that people have that they turn off lights and they whistle it and it sounds like a screech. Those are called Aztec death whistles.
The death whistles, yeah.
Those were meant to scare those kind of things off.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because basically it was the thought of they roar at you, you roar back. It's a sign of dominance kind of thing. Yeah. But
it's also kind of ties in with like the new agey vibrations.
Oh yeah.
Like you're sending a vibration to counteract because
yeah.
Whenever you're doing like if I do spell or trance or whatever I'm sitting down to do, you want to like ring a bell or hit a chime to like clear the air.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I've seen those death whistles. I've seen the videos. They're pretty terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Like it's not like a fun trick,
No. You turn the light off on somebody in the bathroom, and you blow that. They're gonna shit themselves.
Yeah, at least they're already there.
Yeah.
But of course, we also have in South America. We always have places like that in Africa where you've got pygmy tribes reported.
Oh yeah.
Pygmy humanoids.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your Bigfoot type creatures.
Yeah.
One thing I see a lot of in South America is tales of werewolves.
Yeah.
Big dogs, dogmen, that kind of stuff. And you see pictures and they look like big and lanky things. They're not really the American style, big bulky dogman.
They're more like what they call them. They had a name for them. It was in Egyptian, where they were jackal men.
Oh, okay, that makes more. That makes more sense.
Yeah, but they were said to be the guardians of the underworld, created by Totec or something. Mm-hmm. One of the Aztec or was it Incan or Mayan that was Totec. I forgot, folks. If you are a mythology buff, understand I have forgotten more about mythology than kids these days will ever know.
That's probably true. Yeah.
So
that happens a lot when you're doing. If you don't have like detailed notes to do the podcast,
because like between Mayan, Incan, and Aztec, there's so much mythology there that
they run together.
It rivals the amount that Greek and Romans have.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Now, honestly, the best way to trim down some mythologies, specifically Greek and Roman, is mythology if Zeus or Jupiter kept it in his pants.
Yeah.
Massive book, not keeping in his pants. A tenth of it if he kept it in his pants.
Yeah, it does seem to be about Zeus getting around.
Yeah.
But like even back to the Roman gods thing, like even Norse mythology had this term called the Wainic gods.
Yeah.
Which is thought to mean those like the Greek gods.
The other pantheons.
And like we were saying, I don't know if it was this one or the one before that, we were talking about Yahweh for a minute.
Yeah.
And the Israelite, if you Wikipedia, it's Wikipedia, but
if
you look up the Israelite gods, you know, the Bible makes you think it's just one, but the Israel, they have like 40, 50 pagan creature gods. Like,
well, yeah, because originally Genesis said, the tablet said, it didn't say you will have no other gods.
Yeah.
It said you will make me first among them.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's such a crucial.
Or you will honor me above all others.
Above all else, yeah.
Yeah. It originally acknowledged other gods, but somewhere around King James's time, it went from that to him being the only one. Period. Done. We're done. Have a nice day.
That's true. Let's see, South America. What was it? Oh, so we were just. I think we may have mentioned on this episode, but I know we talked about the UFO situation.
Yeah.
And America is just now like the Tic Tac video and stuff like that we released this past year.
Well,
but Chile is like always been.
The government actually came out and stated, yes, we have UFOs.
Yeah.
They've actually come out and said, yes, there are things we have that are obviously not of this planet that we can't identify.
Yeah, we don't know what they are.
But everybody's just like, there's other stuff in the news and whatnot that people are more concerned about, and I'm like,
well,
guys,
it's a distraction.
I'm like, guys, the U.S. government, the beholder of all fucking secrets, just said UFOs are real.
Yeah, and
nobody batted an eye. They were just like, oh, these people got shot. Oh, it's the end of the world. I'm like, UFOs.
UFOs are real. The government said so. But I think it's going to take people. Well, I mean, like I said, with Chile and places in South America, it's like a well-known, we're looking into it thing, and Chile especially has had a ton of reports, videos.
So you'll notice that a lot of the times when there's mountains and particularly untamed wild involved, you'll notice there's a kind of elevated thing and seeing things that you can't identify.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you see that like you were talking about the previous episode where you lived in Alaska. Places like that, like the Alaskan Triangle. Mountainous wilderness areas.
Oh, yeah.
You even have the missing 411 phenomenon where people are just like in a national park and they just up and vanish.
Well, yeah.
Again. So, I mean, especially in South America, like you're saying, it's one of the most realistically unexplored places. And it's unexplored, but it's also highly controlled, a lot of it, by the cartels, and the government's restrictive to the basic people.
Oh, yeah.
Or not, the general South American government, but a lot of these countries in there are like militarized countries.
Yeah.
Their civilization is very, very poor.
Yeah.
So it's like we have a little bit, we're doing good, and America's finally said UFOs are real. And no one is really super excited about it, apparently, but...
Well, see, I am, because I don't get distracted by all the
BS
by all the BS and the buzzwords that the news puts in.
Yeah.
Like when the U.S. government admits something's real, that they've not put a stance on, that they've either refused to put a stance on or completely denied, you listen.
Yeah. Because that's something that does not happen for a company that literally lies to you on a daily basis to tell you something. Yeah.
How do you know a politician is lying? Their mouth is open.
That's it. Let's see, what else is there about South America? We're at like 45 minutes into this episode. Do you have any other topics in South America? I think I'm pretty much.
Well, I can go on for hours, but I think this is a good.
Yeah, I think we've gone over quite a lot. We've branched out a good bit, so. I think we're going to call it for this episode. Appreciate everybody listening. Thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Follow The Last Wave on everything. The blog. We have Facebook, Twitter. I'm not doing a TikTok just because we don't really do much of that stuff. If we do, it'll be like paranormal videos and hauntings and exploring and stuff like that. So. But for today, that's it. I want to thank Hunter for sitting in and giving me somebody to talk to. You want to say anything?
Thanks for having me. I'd be more than happy to come back.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody listening. That's going to do it for this episode. We'll catch you on the next one.